Greetings, Earthlings. Hopefully, this day finds you feeling good and ready to learn something today. But so we're going to talk about conflict resolution, learning how to resolve conflict. But before we do that, we're going to review from last week the four parts of your body that you use to listen. Your ears hear the words, your eyes stay focused on the speaker, and your brain, because you're digesting and understanding the words that you have heard and the things that you have seen. But most important, your heart, wanting to listen, wanting to learn, wanting to grow. Because here's the most important thing about listening and learning new things. Now, right now, you might not understand the importance of education, being a elementary school student. But think about this: the type of car you drive, the type of food that you will eat, the type of home, apartment, trailer that you will have will be based on the amount of education, the amount of time this light bulb has come on for you, this light bulb of learning. The more this light bulb comes on for you, the brighter your future will be. Think about that. The more this light bulb comes on, the brighter your future will be. So it's important to be listening, ears, eyes, brain, and heart, and becoming the best listener you can. But today we're going to talk about something that's important: conflict resolution. Conflict is all around us. All around us. There's conflict. There's conflict about this pandemic. There's conflict with other countries. There's conflict in your home. I would imagine that some of you have had some arguments in your home, or disagreements based on what you were going to eat for today. Somebody wanted chicken. Somebody wanted pizza. Somebody wanted steak. So do you get down in the middle of the floor and start arguing, and whoever wins the fight, that's what you have? Or do you problem solve? Do you work things out? And that's the thing. When you come back to school, you're going to have to do a lot of problem solving because things will be different. So we're going to have to learn how to resolve our conflict in a peaceful and a productive way. And you start that off by not attacking the other person. Conflict is two things. You have an idea, they have an idea. How can we work this together? You come to school, you want to learn, teacher wants to teach, it's win-win. But sometimes there's conflict, there's disagreements. And how do you solve those disagreements is going to be extremely important for you when you come back to school this year, but not only come back to school this year, but for the rest of your life. How do you learn to resolve conflict? And the first thing you do in resolving conflict is no name calling or hitting. Anytime you hit someone or anytime you call them a name, you're trying to hurt their feelings. So you're attacking the person and not putting your energy on the problem. And that attacking people comes out in a lot of different ways. We attack people for as their religion. We attack people for as their color. We attack people because of their gender. We attack people for all different types of ways. But you don't resolve issues. You don't solve the problem by attacking people. You put that energy and attack the problem. So remember, anytime you hit someone or you call them a name, you're not trying to resolve the conflict that you have with them. You're setting up a war. Most of the time when you attack somebody, what do? They attack you back. So now we got this big conflict dispute going on, and nothing is being learned from either side. So that's why it's important we realize that we never, ever hit or name call, because we're not problem solving then. All right. The next thing we do is that you have to be honest. And really, this will be my next week. My video will be about honesty. But you can't solve anything without being honest. You have to be truthful. Because think about this: if I would go to the doctor and my knee is hurting, but I go sitting there and tell him that, it's my shoulder, doc, my shoulder's doing this. But the problem is really my knee. But I don't want to tell him about my knee. So in turn, how can he solve the problem? Only way he can solve the problem is knowing exactly what the problem is and how to direct that. You go to McDonald's and stand there and you look at them and say, It just for they supposed to fill out your order without you telling them what you want? Or do you have to explain to them that, well, hey, I'm here for such and such hamburger or things like that? So now we know which direction we're going if we're honest and we talk about it. But you have to be comfortable in expressing yourself, telling people how you feel. You might look like this angry, and everybody around know you angry, but do we know what the problem is? How many times have you ever been in home and your parents would say, honey, they see you walking around looking like this, moaning, groaning, or looking like this, and you ask, and they say, honey, what's wrong? And you say, nothing, nothing. Clearly, you look like there's something wrong with you, but if you don't tell what's wrong with you, how can you resolve that conflict? It's not hard. How could you get to this without telling them, get to this joy, without telling and working out the problem? So yes, you can, but you have to be honest. You cannot solve anything, any problems without being honest. You know, how many times you said in class, the teacher is teaching, you don't understand what's going on, but you don't raise your hand and ask for help. You just sit there and smile and say, oh, I hope this woman don't call on me, but I don't know what she's talking about. Who are you lying to now? Because the teacher think if you don't raise your hand, the teacher's going to assume that you know what's going on and going to keep going, moving on, progressing in the subject matter. So if you need help, you need to raise your hand and say, excuse me, I need help, because then you're lying to yourself if you don't raise your hand, and it will affect your grades later on when you come down to taking a test. So it's important to be honest, to resolve problems. You have to admit that there is a problem. And the third thing is that you got to listen. There's two sides to every story. So then if you listen to what that person has to say, let them finish, not when they're talking, no, it didn't happen that way. No, stop, listen to what they have to say, and then they give you that same respect to stop and listen to what you have to say. So there's a lot of times everybody has an opinion, so you need to hear their opinion, and then they need to listen to your opinion. And once we get those two opinions out, we look at, well, what can I do to solve this problem? I can't tell you to change all the time. Well, if you would change, my life would be better. If you wasn't here, you causing all this, then my life would be better. No, what can you do to help this problem? You look at what you can do, because the only person you control is yourself and your actions. You make a change. This person looks at themselves and look at what they can control, only themselves and their action. They change, you change, problem solved. But you got to work hard to make that. That's the last part, is working hard. Once you decide what you have to do to make things better, you have to put the energy in and the work to make that happen. It's just not going to go away. And the more that you practice this, you'll be amazed at how fast you can resolve conflict with your brothers and sisters at home, with students in the classroom, with teachers, parents. But we have to practice these skills. We have to practice and learn how to get along with each other as earthlings, as human beings. Because think about that. When you start calling somebody a name, you based on looking at things as far as their color, their gender, their racial, their sexual orientation. You look at those things to attack them instead of looking at what the actual problem is. And right now, when we come back to school, there's going to be conflict because things are going to be different. But we have to learn how to work with each other. Working with each other, we can really make things a lot better for ourselves, our school, our city, our state, and most important, our planet. But remember, we have to learn how to resolve conflict in a peaceful and a productive way. We attack problems, not people. Remember, Earthlings, we attack problems, not people. And hopefully you were listening, because we learn more from listening than we do from talking. So you Earthlings have a great day. Goodbye. And remember to work with each other. Remember to respect each other, and that there's only one race, the human race. Thank you very much, and goodbye, Earthlings.